Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to fix the music in the church.
My buddy from Texas looks over and says, we don't sing this hymn in Texas.
There are 2 lifetime callings in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Apostle and piano player. Wait, are you advocating for profanity from the pulpit? This just got awesomer. How have you managed to stay active despite the music being so bad?
My sweet little grandma is resurrected and starts beating me over the head with her testimony.
We should like American Idol the hymns, dude.
To raise the bar in music is to open your stinking mouth and sing.
This episode is brought to you by Go and Do Travel, specifically their Gospel on the Nile tour in Egypt. For discounts on all of their tours, please check out the links in the description.
I got a real good feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardon Ellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Austin Falter, as well as by Austin Falter's friend, Dr. Doug Pugh, who is on a mission to fix the music in the church. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to fix the music in the church. I hope that's what we're calling this episode, at least. Austin, why don't you introduce your friend and tell us, what were some of the other alternate titles of this episode again? What was it?
Oh, we got some good ones.
Doug, you can feel free to chime in.
Why I'm still a believer even when music is bad in the church. Your composer friends are going to love that one. Or the 5 worst hymns in the Hymnbook and why we probably won't be singing them much longer.
Oh, no. That is so bad.
We got off. No, Doug is amazing. So not only is he a storyteller, one of my mentors, but he has just this past and this skill to be able to compose. He's composed stuff that's been performed in Carnegie Hall and the John F. Kennedy Center and where else, Doug?
Cathedrals in Europe and several other.
It's crazy. He just did one that BYU Idaho's choir and symphony or whatever did, and it was just blew me away. So Doug's very talented in that department, but he's just the best storyteller. He teaches and trains old ladies who are retired and want to write primary songs, and has a little army of.
Wait, shut up, really?
He has this course, and he takes your grandma and helps her write a primary. It's just the best. So Doug's the best.
All right, man. So, Doug, crank up that volume. You're in the Ward Radio Wigwam right now. And tell us how we can save the music in the church, and also why Gethsemane doesn't belong in the hymn book.
Ooh, that one is dangerous.
Is that? Are you really taking that stance?
Yeah, that's brutal. Wow.
I don't know if I'm going to take that stance or not. We can talk about
What
it.
a
But let's
snob.
start.
Okay.
So can we fix music in the church? This is such a good question. Music's such an integral part of worship, and I think a lot of the time the bishopric thinks about it last. Like, oh, yeah, somebody plays some music, but it can do way more than just get everybody to sing something. We can really do a ton with our music. It's challenging. I get it. It's a worldwide church. We're trying to grow in Africa. We're trying to grow in the Philippines. So should we really waste any time trying to improve the music? It's difficult. If I were an apostle, I'd probably be doing what they're doing. That's why I think people like me, who have a bunch of training and have doctorates in music and have been professors, can do more. I feel a real responsibility to do what I can to raise the bar.
Okay.
Right? We raise the bar in missionary work. We raise the bar in scripture study. Let's raise the bar in music. We can do a whole lot more.
Okay, well, what do you mean by raising the bar, bro? Like actually requiring people with talent to sing instead of those that butcher it behind the bishopric?
Are you talking drums? Are you talking drums? What?
Exactly. Do I hear a didgeridoo here? Do I hear?
I don't mind a didgeridoo. I would love a didgeridoo. No, a couple things. First of all, I don't want anybody to feel like they can't sing in church. That I think is the worst thing. That's almost like saying you can't bear your testimony because you're wearing jeans. Anybody who wants to sing, you come and sing. I just had a stake conference 2 weeks ago. I'm the stake music chair and the choir director. And we sang a beautiful hymn, Behold the Wounds in Jesus' Hands. And there's one girl in the alto section who cannot carry a tune. And she sings very loud. And the whole rest of the choir is looking at me like, what do we do? I do not want her to stop, because there's something special about singing. So my first request for everybody to raise the bar in music is to open your stinking mouth and sing, even if you can only make a joyful noise, as the scriptures say. Make it.
Are
right?
you already Bob Rossing the ward choir? It's
I'm
just a
already
happy accident. There's
happy trees.
there's no bad
For a
singers.
joyful noise.
Just a joyful noisemaker.
No, I'm not quite that sweet and soupy, but I don't want to be the person who stomps on someone's opportunity to feel something special because I'm telling them you can't sing. That's not cool.
Sure.
On the flip side, I think we could do a whole lot more to encourage training. Let me give you an example. 99% of people who get called to be the ward organist, at least in the United States and Canada, don't have a freaking clue how to play the organ. But the bishop thinks, oh, it looks like the piano. So if you can play the hymns on the piano, you can surely play them on the organ. No.
Yeah.
About 7 years ago, I got called in to be the ward organist, and I about crapped my pants because it's like, I've been playing the piano since I was 5. I can play piano concertos. I can do a lot of cool stuff, but the organ is a whole different beast. But they don't help you figure out how to play. So luckily there's some folks like BYU's organ department. There's some other resources online, but I think the bishopric should say, we will pay for you to take some organ lessons so that you can play better in church. Because the number one thing I hear people complain about is the hymns are so slow. And that's because the poor ward organist is pulling their hair out trying to just survive and get through the hymn. So can we help a little bit, please? Let's raise the bar. That's another area. A third area is in the writing. We get all these people writing new songs, writing new ward choir pieces, and that's great. I think you should. However, there are certain grammatical musical things that you should do, right? Like if you're a reporter or an advertising copywriter or a journalist, you're writing English, but even though those are different types of writing, you're still following general rules of grammar. There are some very important musical rules of musical grammar that make music work better. But almost everybody ignores those when they write today, and it makes the music kind of fall apart. So that's why I have my what I call Latter-day Musiversity, where I teach these grandmas to turn their testimony into song. And we have a blast. And I'm teaching them hardcore, like college level theory in my soft, gentle way that they can understand. And I've got some freaking fabulous songwriters now who are brand new to this. And over the last year or two have been writing these beautiful songs, and they're sharing them with their kids who've left the church. And their kids come back at Christmas and go, Mom, I've had that song of yours in my head for months. And that gives these women some serious hope. Like maybe they might remember, because they can remember my song. And when I do my marketing, it's never come learn to write a song. It's like, you know what? You can create a testimony time capsule. You really can in a song. I mean, I think of my little sweet 4'11" grandma who had a testimony like Mount Everest. On her deathbed, literally 10 minutes before she died, I spoke to her on the phone, and she's blind. Her heart's failing. She can't hardly breathe, but she says, "Jesus is the Christ," 3 times, and it just like rocked my world.
Bass!
Like, holy
so
cow.
awesome!
I will never forget that. And there are 2 or 3 songs. Whenever we sing hymn 140, "Did You Think to Pray?" my sweet little grandma is resurrected and starts beating me over the head with her testimony.
Wow.
So if I can give these women a chance to encapsulate their very deep belief and get that into the minds and hopefully hearts of their kids and grandkids, that is a really hopeful possibility for them.
Okay, I have so many questions here. So many questions. Do you need to go first, Austin, before I dive in?
Oh, no, go.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, where to start? All right, so the first thing I gotta know is, do we have a way? I see a pending wave coming, of just musicality suffering in the church, because we're losing all these pianists and these organists. Okay, I mean, it's in my stake. There used to be like 20 of them, and then like the oldest ones died, but it's fine because we still got like 15. But then during COVID, like 7 of those moved away. And that's just fine because we still got like 1 per ward at least, okay? Until one of them gets sick and can't show up for 6 to 8 weeks and we're playing on the piano. And then we're like, okay, wait, this was not the same. But well, we don't really have too many piano players either because of the 7 piano players, 4 of those moved away. I mean, it is slim pickings, so much so that now, like the 4 ladies that play the piano, between sacrament, primary, you can't get a break. These women have been called and
definitely they're called to be the ward, pianist, organist, whatever it may be.
Like there are 2 lifetime callings in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints: apostle and piano player. It's like this is a legitimate problem, right? And I'm noticing it in everywhere that I go, except for maybe Saratoga Springs, where Austin lives,
dude,
right?
No, dude, it's rough.
It's not an art that was passed down to some millennials from very musical families, but like we can no longer just rely on the culture of, hey, let's gather as saints. Zion always has a piano player. I feel like just like we had the perpetual education program, we need a perpetual organist program or something.
Amen.
Because
Absolutely.
either that or else we go mega church and outfit every single chapel with a bunch of parlantes. How do you say that in English? Speakers.
Or you do the harmonicas. Don't some missionaries do like harmonicas? And I'm telling you.
As long as we don't have rock bands in Sacramento, I think that would not be.
Kazoos take no
rock
skill.
And roll.
Kazoos take 0 skill. I think we could do that.
Okay, cool.
Cool. It's a challenging thing because the church is so worldwide. I mean, I served my mission in Chile, and my son's about to go to the Philippines, and there's Africa's on fire, but there's no pianos in those chapels. There's no organs in those chapels. You might be lucky and have a keyboard. I mean, even when I lived in Cincinnati going to grad school, we had a Spanish branch, and I was in the branch presidency for a while. And in the room we met in, nobody in the branch played. And it was weird for me to play because I was like conducting the meeting and stuff. So they have this piano that's kind of programmed to just play one note to the rhythm of the song, and the piano does the rest. And the church has been buying more and more of those like pre-programmed instruments for different congregations. But, you're lucky if you have one of those, if you're out in the backwoods of, who knows? So that's why the church has made such a huge effort in the app to add recordings and things, because a lot of our meetings worldwide are just, that's all you can do. But in a place where we have good instruments and we have, the potential, I think the church could do more to support it, whether that's with online stuff. I thought for sure, and when I've been in bishoprics and leadership, the church has fantastic online learning.
Sure.
For a bit, like, what do I do with transgender issues? Oh man, there's videos after videos with therapists and stuff to train bishops how to help these people. Now, granted, the stuff I'm talking about isn't nearly as important as somebody struggling with their testimony and their sexuality and so on and so forth. So I don't want to, compare like to like, but we have potential to provide really good training, which is really why I ended up starting this little side business of mine, Latter-day University, to do what I can to help.
Oh, dude, I want to take these classes. I don't care if anybody says it's priestcraft or music craft or ward crier craft, whatever, I'm taking it. And second off, I just realized, just like there's like labor camps for prisoners that commit like, crimes and stuff and they get like labor,
where are we going
like hard labor and stuff like that. I think if you get excommunicated, you should have to take piano and organ lessons and come back. You know what I'm saying?
Before you can come back.
Pull
your weight.
Before we rebaptize you. Before we rebaptize you, like, dude, I have buddies that had to work fire crews, man. And you drive down the 5 freeway. Dude, is that Steve? Like, oh, I think that's Steve in the orange jumpsuit. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, man, just every shovelful of this fire break is like a day off my sentence, man. You know what I'm saying? I would like it to be that, like, freaking every hymn that you just nail, if you can do a Mozart banger for prelude music and then just, like, hammer out some, like, Call to Serve and, just, like, do a really stirring rendition of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, baby, then your baptism just got bumped up, like, straight up 3 weeks, dude.
You don't have to wait a whole year now. We'll just do a month and you're back in. Yeah.
Well, Cardon, I'm excited to see you in an online class with a bunch of old ladies. I'm excited to see that dynamic. They're gonna love.
Oh, I'm gonna be like, put some Elvis in the pelvis, baby. Put some Elvis in the pelvis. Hey guys, before we go any farther, I just want to put a plug in for Go and Do Travel, specifically their Gospel on the Nile tour in Egypt. I just had a chance to take the tour myself, and let me tell you, it is amazing. The hosts are incredible. You got Greg Madsen, you got Bruce Porter, you got Brian Mickelson. They show you a phenomenal time culturally, but also spiritually and intellectually. They show you all the temples, all the sites, and they contextualize the Book of Mormon, the Book of Abraham, the Old and the New Testament in a way that you have to experience it yourself. So in order to help you in that process, I have included a couple of links in the description of this video. Use Ward Radio 5 to receive 5% off all of their tours. But you got to check out Gospel on the Nile. It's an amazing experience. Check out the links in the description. Without any further ado, let's go. So, these other titles, come on. What were these other titles? Let's go into these tangents,
well, I mean,
man.
we've got a new hymn book coming out, and they're slowly. I mean, they were gonna have it out this year, and now it might be like, forever. Just in these small releases.
Yeah, there's a big can of worms. Let's start with,
yeah.
So the hymn 2018, President Nelson announces we're gonna create a new hymn book. Immediately, I was like, whoa, cool, right? But then they said, the bar that we're trying to raise here is that every hymnal in every country is the same. That is ridiculously difficult. And now I'm a believer in miracles. This is going to take a miracle because let me tell you, when I was doing my Fulbright in Poland, I'd finished my doctorate there and did a postdoc at the Chopin University, and I go to the branch every Sunday morning, and then I'd go sing in the Catholic Mass down at the cathedral in the afternoon. But
wait, you're double dipping, bro?
I was totally double dipping.
What? Oh, you gonna get baptized in their church now too?
No,
That's it. This is over. We got Benedict Arnold and I just got
Credo in unum Deo. I could go all day with my Gregorian chant here. Don't get me started. But so that when I was there, 2011, 2015, Poland still did not have an official hymn book.
Oh, wow.
The first mission president there, his name is Walt Whipple. He's a friend of mine here in Utah. It didn't open until the mission didn't open until after the Iron Curtain came down in 1990. So he hurried and put 35 hymns together and put some handwritten Polish translations in. But Polish, you're lucky to find a vowel. The first hymn we sang was "Come, Come, Ye Saints," and I could not make heads or tails of it in Polish because it's such a difficult language. But just imagine a hymn that is going to be in the new hymn book has to be translated, be doctrinally sound, have rhyme schemes, and rhyme schemes change in different cultures. And how in the world is Swahili and French and Polish and Finnish and Mandarin it's the most monumental effort. And I'm lucky to have some inside scoop a little bit. My sister-in-law works in that department, and I know the editor of the hymn book, and I know a couple people on the committee. It is such a hard, difficult task that they're doing. So I try to support them as much as I can and give them, all the props in the world. Whatever they do, someone's going to be ticked off.
So right.
Everybody has these different opinions, right?
So Doug, the ones they're releasing now, are they already in multiple languages?
They have gradually started rolling out in multiple languages.
Okay.
I don't know what the number is right now, but it's not that many because it's this is why they're taking so long to release them, because they don't release them until they have them in a certain number of languages. So I wish I could see all the inner workings, but not my prerogative, unfortunately. But occasionally I get asked to help look at something here and there. We need an extra set of eyes on this, and I don't get any credit or anything, which is fine. I'm happy to support the work, but it's a uphill battle. I mean, just the submissions, 18,000 submissions were sent in for new hymns or songs. It took them 2 years just to get through the submissions, let alone to pick them and refine them and work with them. I mean, so difficult.
Wow, this is crazy. Okay. So here's my other question. How have you managed to stay active despite the music being so bad?
This is a very good question. It is really challenging when you have a lot of education. Like I said, I have 4 degrees in music from top 10 conservatories in the country and some, in Eastern Europe and so on. And the more you learn, the easier it is to be critical. I'm very blessed to have had a testimony that was not based on music. So I'm
I actually
solid
wasn't
there,
even
but-
expecting you to answer that question. I was just
Oh,
expecting you to laugh and then move on.
No, let me tell you, there was a time when I got really messed up in the head about it. And I remember sitting in general conference. I was so upset about just like how the choir was singing, and I was not happy with their diction and how they were breathing too often. I was getting really ivory tower musician guy.
Yeah.
And I felt like I got smacked around by the Spirit, like, look, buddy, this is not about, your academic high whatever. This is about people feeling the Spirit and sending out a message in a very special way that can reach people, because that's the power of music, right? Music can bypass your skepticism and your cynicism and can get down into your heart really quickly and really powerfully. So I had to I had to calm myself down. It can be challenging. It can also be challenging when you're sitting in sacrament meeting as somebody who can perform really well, and here's somebody else who's performing something very cringeworthy. But that goes back to like the spirit of testimony meeting. Just because somebody gets up and they smell of tobacco and maybe even swear a little bit at the pulpit, like, should we not let them?
Sure.
Right? Like that.
Wait, are you advocating for profanity from the pulpit? This just got
am not.
awesomer.
But J. Golden Kimball, right? In general, I mean, President Heber J. Grant had to write his talk because he kept swearing so much, and then he's at the pulpit reading Heber J. Grant's talk and says, "Hell, Hebe, I can't read this."
Oh my gosh, that is funny. So
you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't not let someone sing
Right.
because they're not as gifted as someone else. That then becomes a challenge with the bishop. Like, well, what's appropriate for sacrament meeting and what's not appropriate for sacrament meeting? That is also a big Pandora's box.
What do you think with the new hymn book? Going back to that, what hymns are we not going to see?
What hymns are we not going to see that are currently in the book?
Yeah,
The
what do you think?
1985 book has a lot of. Well, first of all, we will not see country-specific hymns, so we're not going to
Oh, God Save the King! Come
God
on!
Save the King, and My Country 'Tis of Thee, and the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay.
No, that's going to be gone really fast. And the church has actually put out notices about that kind of
Okay.
stuff. They've also mentioned that there's a lot of hymns about gathering to the mountains.
Okay.
And it's like, that's just not how it is anymore. There was a time when that was it. That was
Okay.
that's what meant come to Zion, was come to the Intermountain West.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. So a lot of that stuff's gonna leave, which musically that's a little bit sad because there's some really powerful ones, like
Sure.
For the Strength of the Hills. That's a really powerful
Sure.
hymn. But then there's some other ones that maybe a little silly. Like just a couple Sundays ago, we sang the one that's in our lovely Deseret, and there's that funny line, "Drink no coffee and we eat but a very little meat." And my buddy from Texas looks over and says, "We don't sing this hymn in Texas."
oh, dude, that's funny.
So there's
man.
some like that are a little silly,
Yeah.
There's also some that are like overly complicated musically. In fact, my first composition teacher was Dr. Darwin Wolford, and he has a couple hymns in the hymn book.
Mhm.
And his teacher, Leroy Robertson, has something like 20 hymns in the hymn book. And he told Darwin one day, he's like, this hymn that I wrote for the hymn book, I was like 25 and I wanted to like flex my composer muscles.
Oh yeah.
So I did all this complicated stuff. It never gets sung because it's so hard to sing. It's like really advanced 20th century
Yeah.
harmony in our hymn book. It's like, you can't sing it. But then he wrote this really beautiful, simple sacrament hymn, "Upon the cross of Calvary," simple melody, but he's like 70, 80 years old, very experienced professor of music. That gets sung all the time because it's simple yet elegant
Wow.
and deep. And actually, that's the hardest thing, is to write something that is simple and elegant, not simple-minded, but simple that a congregation of lay people
Right.
can sing and love and remember. That's a really difficult challenge, to
So-
write something that can do that.
What's your favorite one so far in the new hymn book?
"Behold the Wounds" is a top one.
Okay.
The other one, it's that sacrament hymn, "As Bread is Broken." That one's
Okay.
beautiful.
I like the bread of life, living water. That one
That
is
one's
just
pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty
awesome.
Dude,
good
don't stop, dog.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's not ringing a bell. Can you keep going? Tibby tabby tooby tooby. No, I don't even know what you guys are saying.
That's right.
Okay.
No,
I forget
that's a
the
good
words.
one. That's
So-
a good one.
But
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
I was going to say, some of the selections, one of the challenges we're having so far is there's a lot of mixing of primary song style pieces and traditional hymns. The challenge with that is the primary ones are really kind of weird to play on the organ.
Sure. And we'll
which,
play them as a
again,
sacrament hymn because we don't really have a distinction right now.
Exactly. And that's, that's okay. I don't mind including it personally, but it's a difficult thing with the organ. So maybe some wards will say, well, we'll do that one on the piano and we'll do this one on the organ. I'm not sure. And I'm not really sure why they're choosing to keep them all in one book, because that's what I've been hearing is everything is now going to be in one book, that there won't be a separate primary book versus hymnal. Again, I don't have firsthand knowledge of that. That's just what I'm hearing from some people that I know. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Plus, if they make the books any fatter than the books we currently have now, they're going to have to change out all the pews in the whole church because they won't fit. Right. So what are we going to do about that? I don't know. I'm sure they're thinking of these things. Everybody on the hymn book committee has a doctorate in music from great institutions. These are really smart people who are thinking very seriously about this. And the editor of the hymn book, a friend of mine, he was a stake president for a long time. He was the dean of fine arts at BYU. These are really thoughtful, excellent people who are trying to find a middle ground in this very difficult task of creating a new hymn book. So, more power to them.
I love what I'm hearing. This is great. And I love that the committee is all big brained and awesome. But I have one question. You mentioned this friend of yours named Darwin. Okay, which I thought was kind of cool. And some of these authors, I loved how back in the day we had apostles that wrote hymns that were now, or at least lyrics to hymns that we're singing in the hymn book, right?
Yep.
And you mentioned Darwin, survival of the fittest, and I just, my brain instantaneously meshed the two. And I thought from here on out, I think that we should have some kind of survival of the fittest if you're going to be called to be an apostle. And one of these hunger trials you have to go through is writing a hymn. I think literally what we should do is say okay, the Spirit has revealed we've got 3 candidates here. Instead of just saying okay, Elder Kieran, he's it, and we had our secret conclave, and now you guys, the Spirit has spoken. Cool guy that you wish was doing all your messages on your voicemail.
You want the voice.
Is
you
now
want the American Idol.
And that's what we should American Idol the hymns, dude.
That would be fun.
And imagine if these apostles, we just said, okay, one of you is going to be called, but you want that red chair, bro? You got to move the congregation with a new sacrament hymn. You know what I'm saying?
Who wrote? Was it "This Is the Christ"? Is that the one that?
Was it Elton Perry?
Who did that one?
Oh, that was President Faust.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. James E. Faust. That one's a banger. That one's
that
awesome.
line. How many drops of blood were spilled from you? Very powerful one. That's much more of a song than a hymn. So that's a particularly difficult one to play on the organ, but it's a beautiful message. There's a couple. The 2 most famous hymns in our current 1985 book that were written by apostles are hymn 135, which is President Hinckley wrote the words, "I know that my Redeemer lives."
Oh.
Really, really good, strong words. I prefer that to hymn 136, which is "I know that It is a beautiful song too, but that one's a little more President Hinckley kind of bold spirit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then the one right before it, hymn 134, "I Believe in Christ." There's actually kind of a funny story about that one. That's sort of the bane of many musicians' existence when it comes to hymns in the church, because it's so long. And the reason it's so long is because I was going to say Maxwell. It wasn't Maxwell. It was McConkie. Bruce R. McConkie wrote the words.
Okay.
And it had 8 stanzas of lyrics. He wanted John Longhurst, who used to be a tabernacle organist and has a doctorate in music, who was writing the music, he wanted him to include all 8 verses. It's we're never going to sing all 8 verses.
Can't
you just make it twice as long and put 2 verses together in one? And it makes it so long. And the challenge is that one's a harder one to play, and all these poor organists who wish they had training but don't, they can't play it fast, so it takes forever to get through that song. And it's a bit, but you feel like, well, it's kind of, we can't touch it because an apostle wrote it.
Jeez. Yeah.
It's challenging,
Yeah.
right? We want to respect the apostles, but not. And speaking of apostles, something I forgot to mention a minute ago, and I've had to remind myself of this because sometimes I complain a little bit about some of the selections that have come out. Every one of them gets okayed and like not written off, but approved by the entire Council of 12 and the First Presidency, at least from what I've heard from my friends.
Really?
They care about it. That's cool.
So this is not being done willy-nilly by just a committee. This is being passed by the highest in the church. So
wow. Okay. Cool, man.
Hey,
what else we got?
Pull up his YouTube channel.
You got a YouTube channel? No, I'm
Not
holding that
nearly as
hostage.
cool as yours.
No, I'm holding that hostage until you explain why you think Gethsemane should have never made it into the hymn book, dog.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, here's
That's
the
a
problem.
real thing, huh?
My wife grew up in the same ward with the guy who wrote that, and what I love about Gethsemane, the song Gethsemane, is how much the kids love it. The kids, they just sing their hearts out.
Yeah.
That is so great. Musically, it's not of my flavor, and I don't particularly care for how the chords are connected. In fact, when I play it accompanying the primary, I change things a little bit. But
You're
it's
like
just,
in The Devil Wears Prada. I fixed it.
exactly. So, it's one of those, again, it's that ivory tower musician kind of thing. It's like, it's doing the job of teaching the kids about the Savior. That's way more important than my music nerdiness. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I try very hard to not be a snob, but I'm kind of a recovering snob. Yeah.
I was going to say, congratulations on being one of the most hated faces in all of Mormon music right now.
Yeah, now
he's the guy who hates Gethsemane.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. It's not my favorite.
Hey, I saw you on Word Radio, and you know what the takeaway was? You don't like the best song on freaking, the entire hymn book. So, you can just go, you're going to get fired, bro. Yeah. You're going to get released from your calling.
That would be okay, because right now I am gospel doctrine teacher, the stake choir director, and the stake music chair. Luckily, I got released from being the ward organist too, because I had 4 callings.
Oh man,
jeez, that was brutal, man.
They want to fire me? Go ahead.
Okay, last points, bro. You had one more point. You were looking for something around the studio. What were you looking for?
Oh,
dog?
woke hymns. Where's the
woke hymn book?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Dog.
Woke hymns. Oh boy.
No, we got a full blown woke hymn. It's a woke hymn book, and it's all. Oh yeah, tell them about it while I look for it. Tell them about it.
You look for it. Oh jeez, man. Yeah. So Doug's got a cool YouTube channel though. He does these when the new hymn books come out, or the new hymns come out. He'll like review them and tell you why they work or why they don't work apparently, or why, all the musical stuff that you don't know goes on behind the scenes.
Okay. Oh man, yeah, dude. We looked. It is somewhere in this studio. I usually have it on my bookshelf, but literally, there's a guy that totally made like the BLM fist with like Antifa flags,
it says woke hymns hers.
Yeah, woke hymns.
and then what are some of the ones in there?
Oh, dude, it is so good, bro. It is so good. Look, we're just gonna have to publish our own woke hymn book. Okay, that's just what we're gonna have to do. All right, we're just gonna have to publish our own woke hymn book. So, anyway, last subject here, bro. Would you want to cover his website? Like, I got to see this thing now. What's his website, dog?
Yeah, we got
LatterdayMusiversity.com.
Okay, so it's LatterdayMusiversity.com. So I'm just literally Googling YouTube.com and Latter Day Musiversity. This is either going to be super cringe or super cool. So
it's a little cringe because I'm not as cool as you guys, but I'm getting. That's why I know Austin. Austin's helping me be cool.
Well, here it is, dude. There's Latter Day Musiversity with Dr. Douglas Pugh. Turn your testimony into song. Wow, that's kind of cool, man. And there's your first video. It says Confessions of a Semi-Recovered LDS Music Snob. That is super funny, my man. So
I'll tell you why I made that video, because when the church put out the first drop of hymns, I have never seen such contention and like total bloodbath in the Facebook groups that were started by church musicians. There's like the church music callings, and there's the primary one, and like, oh my gosh, you should hear the people in there talk about Gethsemane. Like, I do pretty good at like, it's not my favorite, I don't care for it, but I'm glad but not in there. Holy cow, it's really bad. And so a friend of mine was at a meeting where they were talking about some of this hymn book stuff. And so this is like a third-hand comment. I'm not even sure this was really said, but it's pretty funny. Said he was talking to Elder Renland, and he said, Elder Renland says, you know, I think the war in heaven was fought over which hymns were going to be selected for the new hymn book because of the bloodbath in those Facebook. This is like so
funny.
Oh, I can tell you some hymns that won't make it. I found my picture.
You did?
Of our woke hymns.
Wait, oh, you found it? Dude, what is
picture. It? Okay, so we have do what you feel is right. Oh man, let Zion in his, her, their beauty rise. I can't read some of these.
Wait, what do you mean you can't read them, bro? Just read it out loud.
We thank thee, O God, for politicians. That's a good
Okay.
Behold a royal protest rally.
Oh, get to the ones you're skipping. There's a reason you're skipping them, bro. What are they?
'Tis sweet to sing matchless advocacy, I think is what it says, but I also can't read that fully. It's,
okay. And the last one. Get the hardest hitting one, bro. What's the hardest hitting one?
I am a clump of cells.
Oh, savage, bro.
I am a clump of cells.
All right. Well, Doug, we're going to have you back. Doug is really good friends with like every single general conference organist, like tabernacle organist.
I know them all.
He knows
I've
them all.
written for one of them. Yeah,
dude, what if we got, dude, okay, so I've been asked, like, I've been told apparently by like some facilities guy that you can actually just request media access to some of these places. And he's like, yeah, he told me the other day, he's like, yeah, why do you think Jeff McCullough gets all of these episodes in like Welfare Square and, you know, Tabernacle this or Mormon that? And he's like, he just filled out the form and requested access, right? And he's like, you could do that too. And I was like, what, really? Dude, bro, we have to get into the Tabernacle Choir and sing a woke hymn.
Get out.
Dude, that would be so epic. Or
from all music callings.
Exactly. Yeah, then we get like banned from all church facilities. No, I wouldn't do that. But I think that would be kind of cool just to be able to sit down and just play the organ. Like, you know, a song that I actually think would be a super sick collaboration between a children's choir, Mormon Tabernacle Choir, and a pop star that would totally like just be totally ill. You know that song "Prayin'" by Kesha?
No.
Oh, no.
Do you know? Oh, okay. You need to watch. Man, every time I make a pop culture reference here, everybody else is like, man, my movie quotes and my pop culture references just all fall flat. You know,
I'm better with movie quotes than that song. But
go look up a song by Kesha called "Prayin'." And she was abused as a youth, and it's a song to her abuser and whatnot. I don't think most people catch up on that, but it's about like praying that somebody will actually just like change. Like it's part of her healing, moving beyond it. I haven't deep dove enough into her commentary on the lyrics of the song, but it just seems readily apparent from the actual lyrics of the song. And when all of a sudden the drums are hitting and she's singing the high notes and there's like choral backup of just like praying, dude, you could just see that thing. That would be the most epic collab between our boy Jim Bennett in Mormon Tabernacle Choir. You know what I'm saying? And get Kesha straight up in the Tabernacle. That'd be pretty ill. So yeah. I'm down with everything you proposed, except for taking Gethsemane out of the Hymnbook.
That's ridiculous. I don't know why.
Because I like having friends, you know. So his name is Dr. Douglas Pugh, also known as the Grinch who stole Gethsemane from the Hymnbook, and.
I'm never gonna live this down.
No, we're just kidding. Anything else before we go, my man? Anything else before we go?
Sing, everybody. Sing. Open your mouth and sing, even if you can't carry a tune. Our hearts actually start beating together when we sing together. So if you want to be unified, open your mouth and sing.
Okay, awesome. For those of you that
Amen.
Jeez Louise. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I had to.
I was just going to say, for those of you that want to know if that is actually true, if our hearts do beat together when we sing, stick around for bonus materials. Please consider joining the channel below for some of those bonus materials. And for the rest of you, for this and more, please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com.